Good evening. I'm Laura Butler, the president of the chamber, so welcome tonight. As we get the program started, Commissioner Deanna Holliday is going to lead us in the invocation.
Thank you, Laura. Good evening, everyone. Let us bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you and give thanks for this beautiful day that you've bestowed upon us. Lord, we thank you for the people that have gathered here this evening. We thank you for those who coordinated the event. We thank you for the elected leadership and for the business and community leaders that are here with us this evening. Lord, we thank you for your promises. We thank you for the promise of forgiveness and salvation. We thank you for the blood of Jesus that cleanses us. Lord, let us never fail to thank you for all that you are in our lives. Let us never fail to give you praise and glory for all that you provide. Lord, let us always go to you for wisdom and let you lead and direct our lives. Now, Lord, we thank you for the meal that's been prepared for us and for those that prepared it for us. Nourish it to our bodies. Lord, again, we love you and we thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, Deanna. Now, Colton Copley is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Addison Copley is going to sing the national anthem for us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rugged, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, Satan's that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wow. Thanks, Addison. At this time, I believe we have an award from the STEM school, so I'd like to invite Dr. Dyer up to the stage, please. There you are.
Thank you, and thank you, Addison. That was beautiful, and you may not know this, but I heard your grandmother sing in church many years, and wow, you're a carbon copy. You've got a bright future ahead of you, and thanks for blessing us with that national anthem. That was beautiful, so thank you. So I'm Mike Dyer. I'm the veterinarian, first of all, at Proctorville Animal Clinic, but my other hat that I wear is the president of the Tri-State STEM plus M High School Board of Directors. And just a little word about what a STEM school is. A lot of misconceptions about what we do at Tri-State STEM, and it's not just science, technology, engineering, and math students. We have students that have aspirations to be journalists or in the arts, and we have them from all walks of life. But STEM education in Ohio started back, probably back close to 2016 and maybe even before. The first STEM school was in Columbus in 2008, actually, I think, Metro High School in Columbus, with the purpose of having problem-based education for students that learn in that format. And so there are 80 STEM schools in Ohio, and there are only 7 that are independent STEM schools, means they're not connected directly with a public school. So here in Lawrence County, you have one of those 7 independent STEM schools. And Something great is happening there and has happened in this past year that we want to bring recognition to. Please know that it is a public school. You don't have to pay tuition to go there. And the legislators, thankfully, were able to allow for students to come on a tuition basis from Kentucky and West Virginia. And we've had some students from across the river. So STEM education, the students work in small groups. They solve the problems of the community, and they learn their math and their science and engineering. But the most important thing is they learn to solve problems. And I recently got to spend a day with Audie Perry from Heritage Farm. And what a visionary guy he is over in West Virginia. And he came and visited our STEM school, and he said, we have to stop asking kids what they're going to do when they grow up. He said, we need to ask them what problem they want to solve. And he shared a story about a little girl from Genoa, West Virginia. And if you know where Genoa is, you've really been around, because it's as far deep in West Virginia as you can get. And he was at a school in Genoa, and he asked this little girl, what problem would you want to solve? And she very quickly said, I wish I could get my grandmother's hand to stop shaking. And he expanded on that. And so he now, when he meets young people, he talks about how we need to train them to be problem solvers. And Brad Smith from Marshall and I got to sit down for a fireside chat recently at the STEM school. And he said, for a first grader starting school today, 65% of the jobs that they will enter into don't even exist yet. So how do we train for that? And the way we train for that is we teach them how to be problem solvers from first grade all the way through high school. And our public schools are doing a good job of that too, but we have a niche that we're meeting the needs of many students who may not thrive in public school. And wow, are they thriving? We have 85 students now. 30 of those students are taking college credit plus classes and making all A's and B's. We have a 100% graduation rate, and that school is right here in South Point, Ohio. And I can't say enough about how the Chamber of Commerce and LADC has supported us. The late Dr. Scott Howard had a vision for STEM education in our region, and he founded the school. And with us today, the founding curriculum author, Miss Alicia Spears from Chesapeake, is here. If you want to know anything about STEM curriculum, she's the guru in the room. So we thank you, Alicia, for your contribution. So tonight, they have a table. And if you have questions about STEM education and what it means, and if you think you might have a family member or a student who could benefit from STEM education, please see one of us or see one of them here tonight and just get your questions answered. So one thing about STEM school in Ohio is there's this pretty rigorous designation that must be achieved to become STEM. So the Ohio Department of Education has a private-public partnership with Battelle Industries and the Ohio STEM Learning Network, and they have some strict guidelines for STEM and STEAM designation. So STEAM adds an A for the arts, the performing arts and so forth. So our school was due its 5-year redesignation last November, and we just brought on board a brand new director and a brand new chief academic officer. So we like to call them the CEO and the CAO. So the director is kind of like a superintendent, and the CAO is the principal. And they had just a few months to put our school's redesignation together. And so not only did they attempt to get STEM, but they also applied for STEAM. And tonight I'd like to announce that we successfully are now STEM designated and STEAM designated for your STEM school here in Lawrence County, Ohio. I don't have time to go into all the details about the school and all the great things that are happening, but we have some folks in the room that have really helped us, starting with Dr. Bill Dingus at the Chamber. Jeremy Clay has been good to help us with the facilities. Miss Ronnie Hayes Capper from Fairland's superintendent was just a good friend to us. We needed some guidance and some endorsement from another public school. And so we just had a lot of friends in the community and the parents. In my practice at Proctorville Animal Clinic, I can't tell you how many times, as recently as this Tuesday, a lady brought her dog to me, and before she started talking about the dog, she said, "Are you still affiliated with the STEM school?" And I thought, oh yeah. And she said, I just want to tell you, and she began to cry. She says, my daughter's life has been changed because of that school. And she said she's thriving now. And so when I get reports like that, I know that we're doing something good for some of the kids in Lawrence County, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. So tonight, I would like to ask Mindy Maxey and Dusty West up to the stage, please. Come, please. So these are the two young ladies. Miss Maxey is our CEO, our director, and Miss Dusty West is our principal. They have selflessly given of their time, sacrificed family events, and now we're to the point that hopefully they don't have to do that. But for this past year, they've run the gauntlet. And at this time, I'd like to give them a special Raven Award. So our mascot are the Ravens, and whenever there's a notable individual that's done great things for the STEM school. So for both of you, we have a check from the board of directors and Ms. Maxey for exemplifying dedication, decisiveness, and bravery. I can't tell you, she comes from a business background. The one thing about STEM schools is we don't play by the rules necessarily. There's a different governance. And so our superintendent can be from business so that we have entrepreneurial thoughts the way, with all the science and applications. It's just a different way of learning and a different mindset. And boy, she's rocked the house. So thank you so much. Thank you. You're very welcome. And Dusty West made a great Batman and Robin kind of team. Dusty has a master's degree in educational leadership. She knows curriculum, stepped right in, was a support for Mrs. Maxey, and together they got our designation reassigned. And the other part of this is the school partners with local industries and business leaders, and we invite anybody that wants to be a partner with us to come and visit the school, take a tour, see how you can come and give a lecture to the students, and we even offer internships where the students go for part of their senior year to get hands-on experience, because STEM is all about experiencing things in the real world. Ms. West, thank you for your contributions. Thank you. One last comment, trying to be brief. We've recently been able to access some funding to purchase 100 acres of land, because we're at 85 students. We're pretty tight in this small facility, and it won't be long that we'll be looking to expand. We project our enrollment will be up close to 100 students in a year or two, and so the land that we acquired will eventually, hopefully, phase one is to have an amphitheater and a nature trail. We want to get kids outside and off of these. And so we have a lot of outdoor projects planned. And I'd like to thank Speaker Jason Stevens for helping us access some money that we had to be able to make that purchase. And so thank you, Speaker Stevens. We appreciate you. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, Mike. At this time, before we release the tables, I'd like to recognize our MC for the evening, Ms. Martina Bills. Stand. Thank you. So we'll go ahead and start releasing tables to eat. If we'll start with maybe these two first and then just kind of work the way around the room.
Hello, everyone. I know you are all still eating, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the awards. Laura introduced me earlier, but I want to reintroduce myself and tell you a little bit about me if you don't know. My name is Martina Bills. I work at WSAZ. And I know Tim Ear is usually the one to do this, and he was unable to make it. He has a special 3-year-old granddaughter's birthday. So when Shirley called and asked me to do it, I said, sure. And Shirley and I became best friends within a matter of minutes on the phone. So I quickly learned that Shirley is the boss. So I grew up in Pittsburgh. I've lived in the Huntington area for about 20 years. I actually originally moved here to work at WOWK, the CBS affiliate. And I worked there for about 10 years. I was morning anchor, reporter, weekend anchor, and then I spent 9 years at home with my little girl, and WSAZ came calling 2 years ago. And so I've worked there for just over 2 years, and that's where I met my husband as of 2 weeks ago. We just got married, Elijah, and he, thank you. He actually works in sales there with Trevin Hannes, who's a Lawrence County, Ohio boy. So WSAZ is truly a family, and I know a lot of people tell us they consider us their family, but we consider all of you our family. And I know what you guys do here in Lawrence County is so special. We have a lot of WSAZ family members on the WSAZ News team that live here, and this is their home. And so we just love everything about Lawrence County, Ohio. And one of Lisa Feinstein, our morning anchor, she dates Joseph Payton, our Fired Up Friday guy from Ironton. And when I told her this morning where I was coming tonight, she said, well, I'm a little partial, but Lawrence County guys are the best. And I was like, so Joseph Payton, shout out to him. So, but we're going to go ahead and get started. And everything you guys do here in Lawrence County doesn't go unnoticed. And I know today was a little bit of a heavy day, and I can't not say something about what happened today because I think it's every human's worst nightmare in this day and age. And I came out of the edit bay and everything was going crazy, and they actually sent Tim to South Point. And when I left, I was anchoring. I filled in for Tim on the anchor desk and with Susan Nicholas, and I said, Susan, I feel bad leaving, going to have some fun tonight, but those people, that's their community. And so I'm thinking of everyone who was touched by something, what happened at South Point Elementary School today, because I know it was heavy, and the whole drive here, I've been checking my phone to see, and when you have a child in a school, everything like that is your worst nightmare in the year 2024. So what those kids saw today, I know it's on a lot of hearts tonight when you go to put those kids to bed. So anyway, on a lighter note, we're gonna go ahead and get started, and grab these awards. So tonight's first award is the 2024 Lawrence County Small Business of the Year, and it is to Guthrie's of South Point. And I'm just going to show a little bit. We're not going to go through all of these, but there are some proclamations I want to make sure everyone knows about from Congressman Winthrop's office, also Jason Stevens, House of Representatives. There's so many official documents here. Secretary of State's office, and a lot of these organizations and offices do have representatives here. And Governor Mike DeWine's office. So if Bob Smith, who is, and I did not recognize him tonight until he actually started speaking to me, and his voice was that iconic voice that you've heard for years. So I want to welcome you up here to present the Lawrence County Small Business of the Year Award to Guthrie's of South Point.
Thank you, Martina. Well, it is certainly good to be here tonight among good people. You are good people, aren't you? Well, I just want to say that my history with the Chamber of Commerce has been one that has been delightful. I had 7 years. 4. Was it 4 or 7? You ought to know. Oh. Anyway, it was a good time. Good people. People like Dr. Bill Dingus, Jeremy Clay, Jordan Lucas, Hayward Chappelle, Phil Ramsey, a lot of good people I worked with. Vivian Kunavong. It was a tremendous, I must say, I worked in broadcasting for many years, but my time at the Chamber of Commerce was just as satisfying. It was a good bunch of people to work with. But it is good to be here. At my age, it's good to be anywhere. But I do want to say a lot of good things about Guthrie's Chicken. First of all, I want to say something about Shirley Dyer. Shirley Dyer you guys hit the jackpot when you hired Shirley Dyer. Yeah. She has been so important to the Chamber of Commerce. And I look at some of the things that she's accomplished, and I go, wow, what a lady. So thank you so much, Shirley, for all the work you've done and for planning this event as well. We thank you for that. I want to say something about presentation. When you think about presenting an award, you can't help but think about something that happened many years ago. How many old-timers are here that can remember a movie actor by the name of Walter Pidgeon? No old-timers here? I'm getting old, man. Walter Pidgeon was a famous movie actor in the 50s and 60s. Maybe that's why you don't recognize it. Anyway, he was getting an award one night, and the person who was presenting the award was very, very nervous because he really was a fan, a big fan of Walter Pidgeon and all the movies that he had done. So he was so nervous that his opening line in the presentation of this award was, "Mr. Privilege, this is indeed a pigeon." Well, tonight it's no pigeon I'm worrying about, it's a chicken. So we're going to talk about Guthrie's chicken tonight. First of all, I want to do a commercial. It's not Advantage Toyota, but it's Guthrie's Chicken, and here's the commercial. Guthrie's Chicken. It's amazing. It's fantastic. You've got to try it. Come and buy some wonderful, tasty chicken at Guthrie's Chicken. It's tender. It's moist. It's juicy. And oh, so good. Come and try Guthrie's Chicken right here in South Point, Ohio. I've always been a big fan of the Hughes family. I've known them for many, many years, and they've been so good to me and so delightful. Kathy is here, Rick is here, the parents of Beckett and Sam Hugh. And I was married to Kathy's sister, Billy, for about 14 years. She passed away in 2016. But I have remained friends with the Hugh family for a long, long time, and they've been so pleasant, so good to be around. And they're just fun people. So we welcome the Hugh family tonight as a part of the Guthrie's celebration. I want to talk a little bit about Sam and Beckett. Beckett, after schooling, he moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and opened up some business there with his brother Alex, and they were in sports marketing for a long time. And then Beckett decided to come back home, and he opened up an oil franchise, oil change and tires. So that's quite a transition, going from oil to chicken. Quite a transition. But we appreciate all that Beckett has done. Sam, of course, has been in education right here in Lawrence County for many, many years. And we welcome him as well tonight. So, without further ado, we will have Sam and Beckett come up, and we will present them with this award. You got it? Was I nice enough?
You're great.
Thank you. Here it is. Lawrence County Small Business of the Year. Get my bifocals working here. Presented to Guthrie's of South Point. Can you read that?
I can.
Read it. Read it. Read it.
For its increased economic support to the community and beyond through expansion and job creation.
All right. How about that? You all have anything to say?
Sammy does.
Sammy does. What about you?
Maybe in a minute.
He's gonna
my
talk.
brother.
Good.
He does that to me about every day. This is obviously quite the honor. When Shirley contacted us and told us we were going to be receiving this award, it just blew our mind. To be honest with you, we don't feel deserving of really anything. We are here to serve and serve one person, and that's our Lord. And that's what we hope to do through our work. I know that this community is home. That's what we talk about all the time because that's who we are and that's what makes us. We're incredibly grateful to have grown up in Lawrence County. It's just the best place on earth to us. And I think a lot of people may look down upon on our part of the state or even this part of the country, but we think it's the best. And there's not a place that we would want to be rather than Lawrence County. So when Beckett presented the opportunity to go into business together in Lawrence County, in our home, it to me was just a wonderful opportunity. And my time in schools, obviously, if you've been in education, you know that that's a different way of serving. But I couldn't be more thankful for that. And then I couldn't be more thankful for this way to serve either. So I've had the best of both worlds thanks to my brother. My mom and dad are over there, and I know Beckett would say the same thing and will say the same thing, but we're blessed with the best two people on earth to be our mom and dad. And I think that God truly gave us the best in every way. We have not one complaint. And to the community, we are just amazed every day at the support of our business, and we're thankful for that support. And we don't take it for granted. I can promise you that. Not only that, but a couple other things. We definitely have the best neighbors and our amigos that served us tonight. So Carlos and Francisco, I don't know where they are, but we couldn't be blessed with better neighbors either. So thank you to those guys for taking care of us tonight too. And the last thing I'll say, leaving education was challenging for me in a number of ways. But there are a lot of people in this room that have really touched my life personally through that journey. And thank you to those of you that have been a part of that. And also just remember Bill Christian in your prayers, and the entire South Point community. That is like Martinez said, it's just like everyone's worst nightmare kind of situation. But one thing that I'm thankful for is that just the fact that the last word I heard is that he's stable and doing well. So y'all keep praying for Bill. Okay.
I'll just be really brief. Pretty humbling. Thank you guys so much for honoring us. Bob's right. Oil change is different than chicken. My wife would say the same. I wanted to thank really just our wives. I want to thank my wife Jennifer and Maggie for letting us work a lot of hours here lately. And then just it's really, really humbling to be in the room with folks that I worked with during his initial campaign, Speaker Stevens. That's pretty humbling to still be in the room and see what he's done in his career. And I always looked up to him, still do, and it's just really, really cool. Mr. Dingus, thank you for honoring us and doing just such a great job with economic development here. And I just really, I lived in Atlanta for 12 years, my wife and I did. Had an awesome time there. Got to spend a lot of time with one of my other brothers in business, and it was a great, great, great time, and wouldn't take it back for anything. But like when we moved back home, it was the best decision of our lives, and it's because of everybody here. And so when I look around, I see people I haven't seen for years. Nothing's changed. It's just like an awesome group of people. So thank you all for giving us the opportunity. Thanks for coming into the business and being so supportive. It doesn't seem genuine to say just thank you, but thank you. So.
Sam, I really like your shoes. Before I leave, I just want to say that Shirley Dyer and Janie Payne, I'm told, eat chicken at Guthrie's 2 or 3 times a week. So, and I've eaten there a couple of times myself. It's very good. Martina, thanks, Bob. Back to you.
Just like our own little news show right here. Thank you, Bob. So the next award is the 2024 Lawrence County Business of the Year. It is Intermountain Electronics, and Dan Evans is going to present that for us.
Thank you, Martina. One thing that Bob Smith didn't mention is that after he left the chamber, he came to work for Ohio University Southern, but he never left the chamber. He continued to be involved in the county, and we just appreciate you, Bob. Thank you for all those things that you said about the county. We had a beautiful day today, and I'm so pleased to stand before you this evening as the chair of the Lawrence Economic Development Corporation. And in that role, I have an opportunity to see all the successes that this county has had. It's been wonderful. We just heard about Guthrie's. We've got a couple new ones I'm going to just say a couple words about, because I know that we've got Cap Kim in the audience, who's going to be a new business. Looking forward to that. And Jerry Jones, who's an attorney, came in from Louisiana today, so he probably won the prize for farthest travel today. But we appreciate you coming in. Cap Kim, raise your hand just so everybody knows who you are. Maybe they say hello to you. They will be a manufacturing facility with manufacturing electrolyte, which is used in EV batteries and in cell phone batteries, rechargeable batteries. So we're looking forward to them coming to Lawrence County. Yesterday, we had, many of you know that we had the opportunity to break ground for a new $40 million plus investment by PAM Health. And they're building a new medical rehab hospital in South Point at the Point. And we are really very much pleased that they have also chosen to be here and be involved with Lawrence County. But I'm really here because I have the honor to introduce and congratulate Intermountain Electronics Corporation for their continued growth and expansion in Lawrence County. Intermountain manufactures critical infrastructure for national and international corporations. Their headquarters are in Price, Utah. And when they first came, they built a 60,000 square foot facility at the Point in South Point. There at the industrial park, and that was in 2012, and now they're in the process of a huge expansion with an additional 130,000 square feet. So that's a very successful business. We're really proud to have them as part of Lawrence County. Their total workforce is likely to expand to nearly 90 after this, so we're really looking forward to seeing that operation. In fact, I want to show a video now of Intermountain Electronics so you can get an idea of what they do.
Intermountain Electronics started out in Price, Utah. It's still family owned and operated. I started here about 12 to 13 years ago. Started out here as an intern and kind of worked through the roles here. Our company is a electrical company. We focus on power distribution modules for all different types of industries, anywhere from mining to utility. Our most recent endeavors have been heavy in the data center industry. Our company has diversified throughout the years through the waves of the markets, but the products, the electrical packaging, and the theories and designs are still very similar. The products come in from RFQs from all around the world. We custom design, cut, and manufacture everything, fabricate skids and enclosures. We paint and process those to make sure they have good, clean finishes. And then our electricians bring all the electrical equipment in and install and then electrically integrate all of those components to work together. From there, we take the product, test it as a complete product, make sure that it runs through all of the gambit of tests that we have and make sure that it works properly, so when it goes to site, it's just plug and play for the customer and they don't have any issues. Some of the things that we hire here would be the machine operation, press brakes, lasers, shears. We have an entire fabrication department, so welders, fabricators. We have painting processes here, so painters, painter helpers, processing employees, and then electricians. Electricians play a big role at our facility, so they're integrating all the equipment. Along with those come the support roles, so our testing functions. We have quality inspector roles to make sure that our products are meeting all customer requirements throughout the build products, and then just all of your office support roles as well. Our employees come from all over. Being in the tri-state area, our workforce is pretty much cut in thirds. A lot of the general labor comes from the Ohio and Kentucky areas. We've partnered with Ashland, ACTC. A lot of their programs support and have a lot of the theory and process behind what we do. Same thing with Collins Career Center. We deal a lot with them. They support and supply a lot of interns with IE as well as full-time roles. John Houston, the owner, when he originally came and vetted out the area, he started working with all the different states in the area, seeing who had the best locations for our products, had the best infrastructure to support our types of products, and he landed here in Lawrence County and worked with LEDC on getting a brand new building built specifically to our needs. This year we're actually starting our expansion for adding onto our facility. Demands for product are high and we need to make sure that we can support our customers. So as we're starting our expansion, they've helped us get some traction and make sure that it stays a very good area for John to invest his money in and grow his company here.
Well, that's just a glimpse of a very impressive manufacturing facility. And Intermountain Electronics, the table's right here. Raise your hand. The star of the video is Drew. He's sitting here. But we're very happy that the Chief Operating Officer of Intermountain is here to accept the award. And so I'm going to ask Jake Aramosby to please come forward. Did I do okay on that pronunciation?
I'm used to it my whole life.
So, Lawrence County Large Business of the Year presented to Intermountain Electronics Incorporated for its increased economic support to the community and beyond through expansion and job creation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
In addition, I'll present you with proclamations from Speaker Winthrop. From Brad Winthrop, the Congressman, from Speaker of our House, Jason Stevens. From Governor DeWine, and also from Frank LaRose.
Wow. Thank you.
I'm going to turn it over to you now, and you can say whatever you wish.
Oh. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all the wonderful people of Lawrence County and LEDC for this award. We're very honored to be here, and I think I speak for the rest of our team. This is a very big deal for us, so appreciate that. As Dan mentioned, my name is Jake Aramosby. I'm the COO of Intermountain Electronics. I started as an engineering intern 20 years ago, so I can definitely appreciate what the STEM school is trying to do, and we'll talk a little bit more after this, so that's good. I've lived and worked in this area for more than 10 years now. When, like Drew mentioned, our owner decided to expand here, it was because of the people. Dr. Dingus, Jeremy Clay, you guys have been instrumental, not only at that time getting us here, but also with this new expansion, so thank you both for all of your efforts there. It means a lot. If you guys haven't seen the expansion that's going on, it's massive, it's exhausting. But yeah, stop by, take a look, and apologies in advance if it slows down your commute to work in any way. We apologize. It's probably going to do it some more, so I'm going to apologize for years in advance here. I also want to thank our team that's here today. You guys are awesome. We do have the very best team, and I'm so proud of you guys. So thank you for being here. I'm very proud to be a part of this community. We are super excited to be here and able to continue to support Lawrence County and make sure that it's growing for a really long time. So thank you guys very much for this honor. We really appreciate it. I tried to keep it brief, so
Good job.
thank you.
Make sure I have the right one. Okay, the next award is a special one. It's the 2024 George Patterson Community Servant Award. So I invite Mike Patterson, George's son, to come up and do this presentation.
We'll start off by saying good evening. A lot of time I'd like to talk about Dad just a little bit because of the volunteer work that really kind of instilled in my life. And Dad called it voluntold because he would want to do something for somebody, and then he would come home and tell us that we were doing it. So I kind of fell in love with cooking at a young age on open fire, and my dad would volunteer me for Dr. Leith for his Iron Master days out there. Dad would come home and said, "You're cooking on this date." So it kind of messed up by liking cooking right off the bat. But Dad absolutely loved his county, and until I found out, after I became clerk of courts in 2009, I didn't realize how much Dad truly done behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about. I could probably speak for hours and tell you the people that's come into my office, pecked on the wind and say, "Is this guy here? I'd like to talk to him for a few minutes." And the stories that I'd heard time and time again for the first 4 years of being in office was amazing. And I don't think we ever heard them stories at home. I did not know Dad went above and beyond like he did for people that, some people, the one lady, she said he never knew me. He said he had no clue who I was, but went out of his way to make sure things happened. And that's what was instilled in my life, is to do stuff for people, not expecting something in return, to make our county better and not expecting that reward. You know, Proverbs 29:18, I believe, says, "Without a vision, the people perish." You know, that's used a lot, and to say we need leadership. We need people with a vision, like in this room, that wants to see our county prosper, our people prosper, that people want to stay in this county and work. And so doing that, we've gave this award to several wonderful friends through the years. One of them sitting right here, and dear friends of mine. But also, one more quick story. Years ago, when I was in my 20s, I worked for C.J. Hughes and worked on small engines, and was taught by a very good friend of mine. I became very good friends with him. Did not know a lot about it, but Dad called me one day, and I don't know if Jason Stevens remember this or not, but Dad called me one day, and he said, "Hey, Mike," he said, "Jason Stevens' four-wheeler's broken. I told him you'd come over and work on it." And I had never worked on a four-wheeler in my life. So Dad took me over one evening. Well, Dad talked with Jason Stevens. I went out to the barn to look at a four-wheeler for the very first time. I worked on this four-wheeler for about probably half an hour, turned the key over and it started, and I looked like a genius and had no clue what was going on. But I did get that four-wheeler started. So I think he forgot to turn the key on. So the recipient, you know, I don't know how you all choose the George Patterson Award, Servant Award, but you know, when I met this fella, I was probably in office 2 or 3 years, and I started hearing about something that was being done, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know who's doing this, but I want to get to know him. I want to meet him, and so it started off by the Rone Theater. And I thought, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be wonderful to see this place prosper again? To see, and because this person had a vision to see it grow. So when I met with him, I was just so amazed at the team that they had and the work they was putting in. But then all of a sudden you start hearing him doing other things. You know, he brings stuff into this county that's worldwide. He brings comedians in here that's been on major talent shows in the world. They're right here in Ironton. They come right here to the Rone and put on shows. That's amazing. You know, the Wizard Fest, you know, once again, I don't know if everybody likes it or not, but listen, there's people come from all over the world for this. And we just had something recently, I might pronounce this wrong, I apologize if I do, but I believe it's a river circus, Float Sam, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But it was amazing, there was people from all over the place. But before that had to be done, the river, the boat docks needed cleaned up. And I don't think there were very many people showed up. I'd have to ask him, but I think there's 6, 7 people went down there and spent their time, not asking for nothing, but making sure it was good and clean before all this took place. Stuff like that amazes me, that someone's going to go out of their way. And actually, I don't think he originated here. He's a Wisconsin man, but he's also become a dear friend of mine. I'm super proud of him. And the 2024 George Patterson Award is being awarded to Rick Jansen. Thank you, my friend.
Sir.
Thanks, sir. Rick Jansen, for your steadfast faithfulness, hard work, and dedication in service to our community. And that's from the Greater Chamber of Commerce. We also got proclamations from Brad Winstrup's office, Speaker Jason Stevens' office, and I believe Mike Dwan's office, and Frank LaRosa. So, good. Thank you, sir. Super proud of you, and we appreciate you investing and having that vision for Lawrence County and Ironton. We appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you. I really appreciate this award. I love this community, and great things are coming. Hang in there, folks. I'm just so proud of the team that we've all put together, the CAO, LEDC. I'm sure I'm forgetting everybody. I had no idea this was happening. Jessica, she said, come out, you'll have fun. And I'm thinking, so you made the list. But truly, what a great place to be, a great team of people. And as I was walking up here, I just had to think of 2 people that we lost recently. You know, Dave Milam, one of my mentors, Jim Thompson, just another fantastic human being. And, you know, we have some other people that are struggling right now. You know, Katrina Keith, what a great person. And, you know, just be thinking of those people and how lucky we are that we have our health and we have a healthy future going forward. Let's make this great for the next generation of people. The collaboration between all our partners is just amazing. And I'm super excited to be partnering with all of you. And, man, let's go full steam, keep your foot on the gas, and let's rock this place. I think great things are coming, so hang in there. Thank you.
Okay, so many nice things being said tonight. It's just a nice, positive evening. The 2024 Lawrence County Person of the Year is being presented by Bill Dingus. Speaker of the House, Jason Stevens.
Quite a privilege, I must say. And when you look at the whole evening as one, and you know, the ones who brought down the accommodations, we might even ask them to stand and get a round of applause. You know, the aides that work hard with Bonnie and Julie and each of our people. Would you stand and let's give you a round of applause? Each of them. And of course, Kelly, the Treasurer's Office, and just each of them with the Secretary of State, just they're all part of the family that helps to move Lawrence County forward. And you take tonight, it's really a privilege to be here when you look at the people we were recognizing. And we always like to talk about the three-legged stool, but let me tell you, they're tipsy-topsy. You need a four-legged stool. And you know, we've introduced a small business. We've introduced the larger manufacturing. We've introduced the person that really represents volunteers in our county, which we're very blessed with. But tonight I get the privilege to bring in the governmental piece, which all four pieces are so important to move things forward. So it's indeed my privilege to introduce Jason Stevens tonight. And Jason and I go back many years, but as he does with many of you. And it's always fun when you start introducing one that people know so well. You know, of course, he's the son of Mary and Jerry, which most of you know Mary and Jerry, and faithfully run the insurance office and all other kinds of businesses, and brought Jason up right in doing that. You know, he's the husband of Julie, and of course, Julie Bill Johnson was just famous here because of Julie, and Brad Winstrup is famous in Lawrence County because of Julie, and Brad Winstrup sent lots of money to Lawrence County and different things because of Julie. So we appreciate Julie, but you. But then you go on, and he's a father of Sawyer, of Wesley, of Jackson, all of them you know. But of course, what he's going to talk about tonight, I'm sure, will be Sierra Jane. Sierra Jane Stevens was the first granddaughter of Jason, so I'm sure he will say much. But let me talk about his position. You know, I recall back in the 90s or whenever Pat Clonch and I one time was with him, and he was wanting to do something good to help the county. Really committed to do that, had no interest in ever going outside of Lawrence County. And he was getting ready to, thinking about the commission, thinking about moving into that. And he spent, 3 terms as commissioner. And during that time, the innovation, everyone, George Patterson may have taught him a few things, but it was good teamwork. And it was not it's an interesting thing in Lawrence County. It doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat. After the election's over, you're a Lawrence Countian. And that's kind of the way that it should be, And in turn, and that is Jason. He is truly committed to all the people. And after succeeding as the commissioner, and then later the auditor for a couple of years, the position came open in the State House, and working in those positions, he realized that he really had to do more than just be here, that he needed to get there to where it can really make some difference. So he accepted the position of the 93rd state representative when Ryan Smith went at University of Rio Grande, and just quickly became a success. I mean, he had the knowledge. When you get in the legislature, the most difficult thing is understanding the stream of money. And when you're a county auditor or you're a county commissioner, you see the using the money, you see the manipulation of the money through the audit stream, and he knew all this. Most of the legislators had no experience. Some were good attorneys or good farmers or just good talkers. and they got into the legislature. But Jason had the knowledge. Quickly, his peers recognized that, and in turn elected him as Speaker. Now, let me tell you, the Speaker is a so very important position. You know me, I've always had a finger in politics and was close friends with Vern Riffe. And Vern Riffe, too, was Speaker, in fact, Ohio's longest-serving Speaker, probably the longest in the nation. But basically, his one goal was he didn't see a Republican or Democrat after the election. And Jim Rhodes, a great friend to all of us, when I was president of the chamber, he would come in, or I would call him and say, you know, Mr. Governor, can you speak? And then in turn, his people would say no. You know how it is, Shirley. They'd say no, he can't get it on a schedule. He'd call me about 2. Now, Billy, I'm coming down tonight. What are we having for dinner? So I quickly said, well, we're having prime rib, Governor. So then I called my speaker and said, hey, you're sharing a podium tonight. So some great time. But what I learned from him, when George Voinovich became governor, or became mayor at Cleveland, Governor Rhodes said, I don't want a lieutenant governor. I'm not going to fill that position. I want Vern Riffe to be governor if anything happens to me. See, the speaker is second in line to the governor. If anything happens to the governor and lieutenant governor, then automatically the speaker is governor. So it is a position that sometime here at home we don't recognize the real power of that. When Mike Dyer, Dr. Dyer, said that we had money we couldn't get to that Scott had put in through one of the universities, and it was difficult and challenging. And in turn, so with a stroke of a voice, just said, move that over here, and it became very accessible for us, and now we can move forward. Little things like that. But beyond that, why are we getting a Chesapeake bypass? You know, when you talk about $175 million dumped into Lawrence County's economy in a matter of a year and a half to 2 years, and you take the economics of a couple $1 million and you flip that, a couple $100 million, and you flip that over, you quickly approach $1 billion of economic value for our county. So it's a dramatic. No person in all history that I know of has ever brought as much financial future to Lawrence County as what Jason has. I mean, when we talk about the $5 million he put in, you know, there's a question about whether they want to keep the name Wayne National Forest. You recall that? Well, he puts a bill in for $5 million to do the Wayne Welcome Center in legislation. Now, is that smart? I mean, there's ways that you get your way with money. So, but anyway, many things like that. I could go on and just talk about Jason, and most of you know him in a very personal way, but it's really my privilege to ask him to come forth this evening and receive the award for the Person of the Year in Lawrence County, Ohio. Jason? I'm not going to read these to you since one of them's actually from you.
No, I didn't do one for myself. I didn't do one for myself.
Anyway, these are your awards.
All right.
And on behalf of the Chamber and Lawrence County and everyone here, it's our privilege to present you this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. It's good to see everybody here tonight. It's I don't know, I've given a few speeches from this podium before, but this is really, really special. I want to thank you all. I want to first thank my wife, Julie, for being here, not just here today, but I don't know, 25, well, we celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary this year, so, and we've been in politics since 1996, sort of, in one form or another, so thank you, Julie. Also want to recognize my parents, Mom and Dad, Jerry and Mary, for all of their help. You know, if you've seen any Stevens for commissioner, or Stevens for auditor, or Stevens for state rep, there's a good chance my dad put the sign up. Anyway, and also to anybody running this fall, thank you for not putting signs up so nobody else, the rest of us, don't have to put any up on the ballot this fall. So I want to talk a little bit tonight briefly about stories. Lawrence County is about stories. As Mike was talking, you know, we could sit around here. If we had a campfire here, we could tell stories all night. So But Lawrence County, as I think about the work that we have done here in Lawrence County and raising our children and raising our families, I think about stories. I think about stories about our families, stories about different events, and then, of course, stories about politics here in Lawrence County. We all have stories about our family or family members, our kids growing up, whether it was a good Chesapeake Panther win on the football field or the basketball court. I know the Gues had a few of those over there, so we watched a lot of the Stevens boys do that over the years, and I'm sure with everybody in here, you've watched your kids grow or you remember the story, and I always like to say the older I get, the better I was. But anyway, we've got those kind of stories and different things, and I have, we talk stories about our family members. I have one story in particular about my grandmother. A lot of you probably knew my grandmother, Hilda Stevens. She passed away about 2 years ago. And a great lady. She was just a huge inspiration to me. She used to give me a lot of votes, by the way, because people would say, "Oh, you're Hilda's grandson." They thought I was her son because she was only 39 when I was born. And but she got me an awful lot of votes, and I just assumed everybody was my cousin until they proved they weren't, and that helped coming from a big family. So anyway, if any of you knew grandmother, this story will be funny to you. If you didn't know her, hopefully you'll enjoy it. So grandmother passed away at 91 years old, and she lived by herself. She drove everywhere she went, and she tended to drive fast. And one day, Dad was sitting in the insurance office. I was in there. This was what was it, 3 or 4 years ago? Dad gets a phone call. Was it from Ronnie James? Yeah, Ronnie James was working there at the court. Sorry, Judge. Judge Capper's court. He gets a call. He says, "Jerry, did you know Hilda got a speeding ticket?" And he goes, "No, I didn't know she got a speeding ticket." Well, apparently, she forgot to slow down in the school zone. And she got pulled over. Well, the funny part was that she didn't tell anybody. So she calls, or Ronnie called, so Dad calls Hilda, grandmother, and says, "Did you get a speeding ticket?" "Now, Jerry, I didn't, the lights weren't flashing or something. I don't remember what. It was certainly not her fault. There was no question about that." I could, just like Mike, I could tell stories all day about my grandmother, but, those are the stories that, as we think about our families here in Lawrence County, that really mean a lot. I think other stories that are really important, we talked about a groundbreaking and ribbon cuttings and all the different things that we have been to, whether it's at power plants or sewer plants or hopefully by January, a new road up in Chesapeake. We've got pancake breakfast, bean dinners, chili cook-offs, all of these different events that we have, and you have stories from those and the funny things that happen. And, as an elected official, you get to move around and see all these things. And sometimes you get weird phone calls. Where are the commissioners at? Where are you at? There you are. Deanna, Colton, I'm sure you guys get a few weird phone calls every now and then. Anybody who's ever served as an elected official. And one of the weirdest phone calls I got one day was from Tyler Walters. I don't know if anybody knows Tyler Walters here. Grew up here in Ironton, and he calls me one day, and I was a county commissioner at the time, and Tyler is a fiscal officer here in Upper Township. So apparently, out 93, somebody had a horse that was too close to the creek, and it rained, one of those gully washers, and apparently this poor horse got washed down the creek and drowned. Sad. It gets worse. So this horse was somewhere there near Kelly's Bridge, and it was too muddy. They couldn't get any equipment into it. So is there anybody from the Upper Township Fire Department here? Okay, good, I can tell it. So anyway, they went to the township trustees, and Bobby Ackerman was trustee at the time. And the fire department was like, "We got to get that horse out of there." And nobody can really determine who it actually was, had the idea of putting some diesel fuel on that horse and setting it on fire. Yeah, exactly. So Tyler calls me up. He goes, "Jason, do you know they've set this horse on fire? We got to get the county engineer to get this equipment in there." And I said, "Tyler, it's not on a county road. They can't use that equipment." I was laughing. And anyway, it was quite the story. Eventually, the horse is no longer there. That was probably 20 years ago. But so it was really cute. I had some folks from Columbus. I've told this story many times as Speaker of the House in Columbus, which is really fun in front of local government groups. They probably wonder. what goes on here in Lawrence County. And so some of my staff were down for the Ironton parade there a couple years ago, and the now chief from Upper Township, J.D. Pancake, you know J.D., Mike, I know you probably know him, and he comes up to me and I said, now you need to confirm this story for me, J.D. And he looked down and he looked at his feet and he goes, yeah, that's true. And that's not one of our proudest moments. But it certainly was one of my favorite stories to tell. Now this is there's plenty of other stories about politics that I could tell, whether it's different elections, different candidates, you know, many a story about Moose Duty and Doc Payne, and you know, I never did get a nickname in politics in Lawrence County, but that was all right. But one of the many stories, and I'm sure you guys know a lot of these folks, but I have to tell a story about George Patterson. So George Patterson was county commissioner from 1986, from the 80s until 2007, 20 years. And I came in as county commissioner in 2000. I was 29 years old, was green as grass, and came in and I was serving as commissioner with George Patterson and Paul Harrell. And George was probably almost 60, about 60. They were about the same age. And, you know, I was this young guy, and we had a lot of tough meetings. You know, 2000 was a very tough year for our economy here in Lawrence County. We had the hospital closing, Cabletron had left. I mean, there was just a lot of tension, right? It was really challenging, and we learned how to do a lot of things because we didn't have any money. Is how we had to learn how the flow was, because we really didn't have very much money. But this particular issue, I hadn't been commissioner maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and you guys know what executive session is like, right? You go into executive session, and I forget what was happening exactly, Mike. It was either some farmer had built a fence too close to the road, or it was something to where the commissioners had to make a decision that was going to make some people mad, which, you know, if you're a county commissioner, about every week you have a meeting, you're going to make somebody mad sooner or later. So I looked at George and I said, George, I don't know if we need to do this or not. I said, this is going to make some people mad. And he just leaned back, you know, and he goes, son, don't worry about it. As long as you don't make half of them mad, you'll be all right. Yeah, 50.1%. Anyway, it was just a great time, and I could tell stories for a long time on George, and still to this day, it is one of my pleasures of telling stories about people from Lawrence County to people all over the state of Ohio. And I get to speak in places like Toledo and Cleveland and all kinds of things. And probably one of my favorite stories is we had put $5 million into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is up in Cleveland. Has anybody ever been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? All right, it's pretty cool, all right? So we put some money in the state budget, about $5 million, and I got invited to speak at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I was like, okay, I'll go up there. And so I find myself up there, and it's Sam from Sam and Dave is sitting on stage, Martha from Martha and the Vandellas. There was one other one, but all I can remember was the Go-Go's were there. And I was like, here I am standing up here with the Go-Go's and getting to speak, you know, being from Lawrence County and talking about how cool the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was. But anyway, we still get to do a lot of that stuff. But what I wanted to say tonight, on top of thank you and appreciate all of the friendship and the great stories that we have. And Laura, you can tell Doug I didn't share any stories about my good buddy Doug Cade. But I do want to emphasize that Lawrence County is about our stories. It's about our families. It's about our community. It's about what makes life worth living. And the best story of Lawrence County is the story that's not written yet. It's what is our future, where are we going, and it's the most exciting thing. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And now is the installation of Chamber Board of Directors. Judge Jason Smith. And I will say before, because my time up here is done, I will say I was just standing here listening to everyone speak, and I can only help but think back to when I moved to this area just across the river in Huntington 20 years ago. and everything that has changed here in Lawrence County, Ohio in those 20 years. So be proud of yourselves because it's quite impressive.
Thank you, Martina. Thank you, Shirley, for inviting me again. We're threatening my life and my wife's with life if we didn't come. I'd like to say congratulations to all the people who are honored. Being a judge, I don't get to see a lot of business people on a regular basis. So it's nice to be here amongst all of you and to see the progress that Lawrence County is making. And I'd like to tell a little story about Jason Stevens as well. He just mentioned that he came into office in 2000. Well, I became an assistant prosecutor in 2000. It wasn't long after I became an assistant prosecutor that George Patterson and Paul Harrell had chewed up and spit out one of the other assistant prosecutors at the time and told J.B. Collier to send them someone else to represent them. So Mr. Collier said, "Jason, you go up there." Well, trust me, I love Paul Harrell and I love George Patterson. But everybody in this room that knew them knows they could be a little stubborn and hard-headed, and they like to argue quite a bit, especially with one another. So Jason and my job was basically refereeing the arguments between those two. But that has turned out to be a great thing for my career and for Jason, because now as a Court of Appeals judge, I still referee arguments between stubborn people, and Jason has gone to Columbus and become one of those stubborn people. Just kidding. Jason, we're very proud of you, and thank you for everything you do for Lawrence County. With that, will the officers come up, please? Yep, there's one up here. Thank you. You got everybody? Two more. Oh. Good. Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. As the president and board member for the Greater Lawrence County Area Chamber of Commerce,
as the president and board member of the Greater Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce,
we agree to abide by the bylaws and canons of ethics prescribed by the organization. We understand the mission of our Chamber of Commerce is to promote the general economic welfare and prosperity of Lawrence County, Ohio. We will commit our best efforts as president and board member to fulfill this mission. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you for what you do. Thank you.
If tomorrow all the things you've done have worked for all your life, and you had to start again with just your children and your wife, think your life lucky stars to be living here today. 'Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining seas, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll proudly stand next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Oh, be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Wow, thank you, Addison. So that concludes our dinner this evening. I thank you all for coming out. It was so nice to see each of you. So safe travels getting home.